Hello, my name is Heather Bennett. Tesla's cost-saving initiatives will be presented by none other than MHD Consulting's finest, Misty Bailey, Heather Bennett, and Dalia Madriga. Let me introduce you to the team. Meet MHD Consulting. Dalia Madriga, pictured on the left, lives in Hermiston, Oregon, where she works as a full-time court administrator. She is married and has one daughter and two dogs. She will graduate with her business degree in the summer of 2018. She enjoys the hot summer weather where she plans to explore Oregon's beautiful hiking trails and waterfalls and take full advantage of being outdoors. Misty Bailey, pictured in the middle, is a French Bulldog fan and a commercial relationship manager, in that order. She can read a financial report and write a business plan. She is 1 part executive, 1 part entrepreneur, 2 parts geek, and 3 parts skydiver. Heather Bennett, pictured on the right, is a native of Idaho. She works as a senior paralegal for a litigation firm in Twin Falls, Idaho. She is a child advocate for the 5th Judicial District CASA program. In her spare time, she enjoys spending time with her family and friends, camping, hiking, kayaking, mountain bike riding, traveling, exercising, and of course shopping. She will graduate in May of 2018, where she will receive a BA in business. On the next slide, I'll talk about Tesla, who they are, what they stand for, and who they strive to be. Tesla Inc. is an American company that specializes in electric vehicles, energy storage, and solar panel manufacturing. Tesla was founded in 2003 by a group of engineers who wanted to prove that people didn't need to compromise to drive electric, that electric vehicles can be better, quicker, and more fun to drive than gasoline cars. Tesla's vehicles are produced at its factory in Fremont, California, where the vast majority of the vehicle's components are also made. With Tesla building its most affordable car yet, Tesla continues to make products accessible and affordable to more and more people, ultimately accelerating the advent of clean transport and clean energy production. On the next slide, I'm going to discuss Tesla's cost-saving strategy. Despite rising sales, Tesla continues to incur a net loss. To address this problem, MHD Consulting proposes the following. The first, production of Tesla's more affordable Model 3 at an average price of $35,000. The cost of Tesla's Model 3 will be much lower than its current model range of $70,000 to $145,000 and will accommodate a larger market. Sales will increase while costs decrease. Making cost-cutting measures to the Model 3 will provide significant cost savings. Producing the lower-cost model will help Tesla reduce its costs by using less expensive manufacturing parts and not packing it with all the bells and whistles of the luxury models. The second, introduction of the ARC assembly line. This will reduce the workload related to parts handling within the plant and will help reduce and manage costs on a per-vehicle basis. Third, mass production of the Model 3. Traditionally, Tesla sells its cars on a made-to-order basis. In mass production, with each worker remaining in one assigned place with one specific task to do, the Model 3 will take shape more quickly as it moves from the section to section and countless man-hours would be saved. This strategy resulted in our analysis of Tesla's SWOT, IFAS, EFAS, and TOWS, which Dalia Madriga will now discuss in detail in the next slides.
Thank you, Heather. For our first slide, we will be looking at our SWOT analysis. Tesla has been attempting to become the leader in electric car manufacturing over the last years. They have struggled, but with the help of good management and good leaders, they could possibly become one of the most successful companies in the electric car industry. Strong management and good leadership must be present for Tesla to become successful. One of the weaknesses is the price. The price for previous models was too high, and not many people could afford their cars. And for those that could afford their cars, Tesla was not producing the cars in large quantities, which was a major issue for them. Tesla leaders have realized this problem and plan to produce more affordable cars in the year 2018 to 2020, and will lead to turning a loss into profit gain for the company. Competition has increased over the last years as more big-name car manufacturers are looking to expand into the electric car industry. Because Tesla's track record of making electric cars has been very slow-going, big companies have an advantage when it comes to operating cost and revenue. Here we have our internal factor analysis summary and our external factor analysis summary. As we can see, in the EFAS, Tesla needed to increase their car models and make them more affordable to allow more car shoppers to buy cars. They also need to increase their car production, and they have committed to both taking Tesla in a path to achieve profits in the coming years. Next, we have our TOES analysis. One of Tesla's strengths is innovation, and one of Tesla's opportunities is expand in different markets. Given this, we felt the best way for Tesla to use its strengths to exploit its opportunities is to develop different price points to accommodate more markets. One of Tesla's strengths is innovation, and one of their threats is strong competition. We felt the best way for Tesla to show its strengths and overcome any potential threats is to open more galleries in different locations to promote its affordable cars with its Model 3. We believe this will generate more interest and will give Tesla a competitive advantage. Again, one of Tesla's weaknesses is price is high, and one of their threats is strong competition. In an attempt to minimize Tesla's weaknesses to avoid a possible threat, we believe by producing more affordable cars, it will lower production costs, accommodate more markets, and will drive long-term profits. For our next topics, Misty Bailey will be discussing implementation, evaluation and control, success and failures, and what we learned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dalia. My name is Misty Bailey, part of MHD Consulting. Today, I'm going to be talking about the implementation plan, the resource allocation plan, as well as the evaluation and control of those plans, and the success and failure of those plans. Thank you. So first we have the implementation plan. So the purpose of this implementation plan is to reduce the overall costs in order to produce more cost-effective models. We will also be looking at the assembly line and production of the Tesla Model 3 in the resource allocation plan to effectively reduce the cost per vehicle made. We will be putting in place a new ARC assembly line system, specifically for the Tesla Model 3. With the use of a resource allocation plan, we will gather all necessary components and personnel required within a given time frame to complete one Model 3. Up next, we have the resource allocation plan. This is a really big piece of the implementation plan as it dictates the key roles, responsibilities, and the start and end dates for each of those. So first we have the project manager, which we're only going to need one of. They need to deliver the approved solution which meets the requirements of the implementation plan within budget. The start date of this is January 3rd, with the end date being June 25th. The next we have the procurement manager. The procurement manager has to procure the required resources to fulfill the approved solution. The start date for this is June 30th with an end date of October 1st. The quality manager, which we're going to need two of, needs to inspect the quality is still maintained after the new plan has been implemented. The start date for this is October 15th with an end date of December 31st. The training manager, which we only need one of, will cross-train production workers to effectively use the new production line. The start date for this is July 5th with an end date of October 15th. Next up, we have the assembly workers, which we are going to need four of. They need to build the completion of the car from start to finish. They have from October 15th to December 30th to do this. Then we have the construction manager, which we only need one of, manages the build of the new ARC assembly line and manages the construction crew. June 30th to October 15th. The construction crew, which consists of 8 people, builds the new ARC assembly line, which begins June 30th through October 15th. As we can see through the resource allocation plan, There is many roles and responsibilities that have to be filled, and each one has a start and end date, which dictates when the next one can start. So with the resource allocation plan, we can really keep track of who needs to do what and when. Now we have the evaluation control. Having a plan, an implementation plan, a resource allocation plan, that's great, except we have to be able to evaluate it and control it. So the data that's going to be collected throughout the entire implementation process and for 1 year beyond to determine the feasibility of the program for other assembly lines and types of cars. There is a set stage and process laid out in the resource allocation plan on who is responsible for what and when, as we saw in the last slide. This is essential to ensure that everything is on track to complete the next project. Each step of the process needs to be checked by the program manager before the next phase can begin. This is essential to ensure that everything is being completed on time. The final step of the plan is the most crucial. While this model can effectively produce a car over 15 to 20 minutes, we are limiting the number of cars being produced the first 3 months of production. This is because we'll have a quality control manager on site to inspect and test every car that is going through this new assembly line. This is an essential part to the process, as we need to ensure that every vehicle is of top quality. The year following, we estimated producing and selling car at a lower end of what is possible to ensure there is leeway. So the project manager needs to ensure that things are on schedule and running smoothly. This person needs to give the go-ahead before any person can start their part of the process, and also need to check the work after the project has been completed. They're going to then gather this data and responsible for giving the updates at the start and end of every stage to the CEO, board of directors, and MHD Consulting. We need to gather all this data from the manager of each project. Then we have the quality manager, who needs to confirm the quality of every vehicle made during the first 3 months of production. Aside from giving the project manager regular updates, the quality manager must also write up a detailed report on each vehicle made during the first 3 months and send a copy of the report directly to the CEO and board of directors. The accounts manager has to write detailed monthly reports that depicts the actual versus projected financials. Collecting those detailed monthly reports and submitting them to the CEO, board of directors, and MHD Consulting. Lastly, we have the CEO, board of directors, and MHD Consulting, which needs to be reviewing the project as it goes, quality and financial reports, making recommendations based on these reports, and discuss alterations if necessary. These groups will take the data presented to them and compare them to the projections, discuss, and review alternatives if needed. As we can see, each person has a key responsibility in the evaluation and control of this plan. The last slide I'm going to be talking about is the success and failure of this project. Success is what we're all hoping for. We will estimate success if the overall cost of production decreases by 15%. This will allow us to sell to more people at a reduced price. We won't be increasing profits on these cars, but potentially expanding the market and generating more sales, thus increasing revenue. If this system is successful, we will look into utilizing this assembly line on more models to reduce overall cost to consumers. But we don't live in a perfect world. So we need to be able to account for failure, because failure is always an option that we have to consider. There are a lot of steps to this plan, and we need to be able to account for a lot of it. If at any point the project manager comes to the CEO or board of directors with a situation, it needs to be handled as effectively as possible. There's a lot of money on the line, but mostly we want to focus on what happens if the new ARC line does not generate a 15% decrease in overall costs. We could do one of two things. First, we could raise the cost of the car to make up for the lost revenue. Or two, we could continue to price the car as expected and spend time looking at why the ARC line didn't decrease overall cost as expected. We're going to go with option two. In this plan, we're opting to continue to sell the cars as expected at the MSRP of $30,000. We're going to do this for a few reasons. We want to see what the sales are going to increase to when we lower the price, and we will be marketing and advertising this price in the year leading up to the new production. That means selling the car even if it amounts to a loss. We will also need to determine why the ARC line did not produce savings. This will require even more capital, but would overall be worth the effort if we can determine the reasons why and fix them. Once again, my name is Misty Bailey. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my implementation plan, my resource allocation plan, my evaluation control, and my successes and failures. Lastly, we have Heather, who's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Misty Bailey, for your presentation on Tesla's success and failure. After a lot of hard work, this is what we learned. We learned the process of strategic management and the importance of formulating a strategic opportunity in order to stay competitive in today's competitive business environment. We also learned how to work together as a group and pool our expertise, knowledge, and skills to increase productivity and performance. Through this process, we were able to identify our own strengths and weaknesses. We learned how to develop and improve our strategic decision-making and critical thinking skills. We also learned how to effectively research to find pertinent information in order to make strategic management decisions. We learned the importance of gathering accurate, relevant information from reliable sources so that there was no compromising our report. We learned how to develop a SWOT analysis, EFAS, IFAS, and TOES, which helped us identify and understand the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This allowed us to find ways to capitalize and take advantage of opportunities and minimize threats by exploiting strengths and overcoming weaknesses. After we reviewed the information gleaned from completing the analysis, we were able to take the first step in forming a strategy. This was also the starting point for much team discussions. Once everyone understood the strategy, we were able to begin preparation of implementation of the plan more effectively. We knew implementing our strategic plan was as important or even more important than our strategy. Effective implementation of strategic plans is essential for any organization's success. We learned that it was important and necessary to communicate, update, and adjust our plan in order to achieve success. We learned there is a lot more involved than just throwing the final solution into the implementation process. We needed to account for our solution for a greater likelihood that our strategic plan would be successful. Thank you for allowing MHD Consulting the opportunity to present Tesla our cost-saving strategy. We believe by implementing this strategy, Tesla will decrease its production costs by 15%, which will generate revenue and drive long-term profit.